Ready, set, art. Part 2, food and beverages. Time for the cupcake. Here we go. So we already did soda, 3-tiered cake, pancake, and practice 3 ellipses. So let's go on to the cupcake. So cupcake, right? I'm going to start with this curve this time. I'm not going to draw the other side because we're going to draw this frosting. So I'm going to draw this curve. I'm going to draw an angle this way, and I try to match the angle on the other side, and then not straight. You know that looks weird, so I'm going to take that out and draw the other curve. Okay, now that I have that in, I can figure out the wrapping. So I'm going to lightly erase, and I kind of leave a line there so I know where I'm going, and I kind of zigzag back and forth. If you want to draw tiny little zigzags, that's fine. When you look on your handout, you'll see it's a little tighter. Okay, and then I bring that down. And then each corner, I just kind of angle toward the middle. So remember, sketchbooks are really just sketchbooks, right? They're just meant to be kind of sketchy. And then we get to here, and it starts to be in the middle, and we're angling now this way. We're angling toward the center. All right? And we know that when we get cupcake wrappers, they actually do kind of flatten as they get to right here. They don't keep having little angles, right? And then one thing I like to do is kind of shade one side and then alternate. White, shade. White, shade. Okay? So it kind of indicates how a wrapper would be. Okay. And again, I'm doing this super fast because it's a demo. Normally in class I'd go a lot slower, but you know how it is. Okay, so now I'm going to do something where it's like a swirl, but it's like an S shape. So I kind of go like this, I curve and then go up. And then I'm going to go in a little more this time. Curve and then up. Curve, and this time I'm going to swirl up. And now I can connect. See that? Ah, it gets more confusing. More little S's, so I kind of go like this. Because we're doing a star tip shape frosting. So whenever there's frosting, they use different star tips to pipe the frosting. Okay? So I'm kind of doing these little mini curve S shapes. And then I'll show you how to finish it. Okay. Now, star shape means it, like from the top, it looks like this, right? And they normally look like this, and then the frosting goes out this way, but the top here. So what I like to do is, because it's star shaped, I put these little V's in here, okay? And that indicates how the star shape finishes, these little V's, okay? And right here as well. I also want to put a little cherry on top, okay? And then I'm going to add my little highlight, right? So remember how I said it's almost like an exclamation? So I'm going to put this little curve here, and then right here. And that creates the shine. And that's our cupcake. Next, burger and ice cream. I'm going to start with the ice cream. Okay, it's following similar steps actually to the frosting. So I'm going to start with the cone. I'm going to put a little curve right here. And then when it's a waffle cone, there's always that fold, right? And then I'm going to add the waffle cone shape. And these will add, this grid mark will add as a guideline. And then I change directions, right? Because we know how waffle cones are when they fold over. Like that. Now, we know that waffle cones they have a grid, but it's not quite like this. What they have more are these little square-like shapes inside of it, because really those lines are raised. They're raised, right? And this part is lower. So when we shade, usually lines indicate, when it's textured like this, that it's indented, but we know that waffle cones aren't like that. So I'm kind of quickly putting these little squares. I'm sorry if it's shaded right there. I'm trying to do my best. Okay. And I can keep going, but you fill them in, and then once you do that, you would erase kind of lightly that line, and it would look like that waffle cone. Ice cream. So this sounds weird, but I know there's a common mistake. I'm going to show it's a double scoop. Go like this, right? We get that part correct, and then we see this. Wrong. Why would it look like that right there? We know that when you put the next scoop on, it covers it. So you go ahead and draw the first scoop like that, but then you erase the top, right? So I'm going to take that first one, that last one out. You erase the top, add the curve. Remember, whatever curve we put here, it's the same everywhere. Okay, and then we add that top scoop. Okay, and generally because of the way the ice cream scoop works, there's this little extra line right here. Right? That's your double scoop ice cream. Maybe it's swirl. We can add those little swirls, right? Yum, yum. Maybe it's bubblegum ice cream. Okay. All right. Ice cream, right? On your final, oh, sorry, I barely have nails. You clean it up and get it to that point. Next, the burger. It's the last part. The ultimate of ellipses. All right, so here we go. The burger. And this will be a double cheeseburger, right? Okay, so this time we are going to make an ellipse incorrect. We're going to start this big curve right here because, yeah, when you bake buns, it rises up like this. So anyways, we're going to go have like this and then a less of a curve. Less of a curve. And then I'm going to draw a little sesame seeds. You know, in art, it's really good to add all sorts of fun little details like this because that's what artists do. So I'm going to add these little details. Okay. Now I'm going to add kind of these funky shapes right here. And then I'm going to add an extra line on the inside of it. And then another little sesame seed. And I know what you're thinking. Those must be pickles. And you would be right. Then I'm going to add my lettuce and kind of curve it in. Here's another piece. Right? And then we know how lettuce is. They have those little veins in them, right? Because when they're in the ground, those little veins, when they're part of the roots, the water helps it to get to those edges, make it grow. Next, I'm going to draw my tomatoes. So I'm going to draw 2 little tomatoes. I'm going to curve them in because they start round too. And add another one here. My little curved tomatoes. Now, I'm going to actually put the burger patty in first. And it's rounded too, but I'm going to add cheese on top in just a moment. So just like this, and then it's kind of like gritty, right? Because it's ground beef. Maybe you get ground turkey. Maybe that's more you. Okay, just like that. And then I'm ready to add my square like cheese. So I kind of put in these angles here and there. Maybe it's double cheese. I prefer a double cheese because one slice you actually don't even taste the cheese. So then it gets to the edge and it melts down, right? Right? Cheese needs to melt. Okay? There's my part of my cheese. And I'm going to add these little marks here because ground beef has marks like that because it's ground. Okay. Now I want to add another burger because this is a double cheeseburger. Okay? And I keep curving it because it's not flattening out as it goes down. And of course, more cheese. More cheese. I love making burgers. I make all types of burgers. I've made brontosaurus burgers. Oh my gosh, those are so great. Okay, so now I have that one in. And I feel like it needs more. It's more, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put in the bottom part of the bun. So again, it's another curve. Just like when we did the pancakes. As we went down, you still had to add that curve in. And then it kind of goes straight down. Just does not feel like enough. It feels like, that's right, bacon. Needs bacon. Okay. If you're a vegetarian, I'm sorry. Add those little fat lines in. Yes, fat lines. And then maybe it has some ketchup and mustard. Ketchup and mustard, right? All right, so then you would clean it up as best you can, kind of getting it to the point right here. See, I kind of went back in this one. I lightly erased and reshaped to make it a lot better. Okay, so that's part 2. You have learned to do some food and beverage with appropriate curving. Thank you and good luck.